wasn't sure at the start if it was like a town in like Norway or if it was in the US, but I think it is Norway, and it revolves around this like small town that like kind of lacks jobs. There's a very like pack mentality of the town, of like it's us against you vibes, which again I suppose that's where the title for the second one comes in. But the only thing in this town that they love more than anything is okay. A lot of the people who work in the factory, like that tends to be like the main source of employment for the town, and then people will travel to the neighbouring town of Head for jobs in the city, so to speak, even though it is a small town. And you either work in the town or you work outside of the town, but everyone revolves around this hockey team, and the junior hockey team gets to the finals of some kind of competition, but on the morning of the competition it's rocked by the star of that hockey team being involved in a crime, and it kind of devolves from there. Like, it's a town divided into of who believes the young girl and who believes the young boy, and it's a very toxic environment, but there's some absolutely beautiful quotes. I'll just read some. They'll be ashamed in the end. One day they'll remember that when the word of a boy was set against that of a girl, they believed the boy blindly, and then they'll feel ashamed. And then I also really liked, when I was little, my dad used to hit me if I spilled my milk lay up. That didn't teach me not to spill things, it just made me scared of milk. Remember that? But yeah, those are two of my favourite quotes. There are so many other ones that are really interesting in the book, and as I was reading it on my Kindle, I was going through and annotating things I just thought was absolutely gorgeous. But then I went straight into the second book, Us Against You, which again follows very much from the end of the first book, so I can't really talk too much about that one. But Benji is firmly my favourite character. I just think what he has to go through is just insane. Like, again, it's the stigma attached to like small town environments. I cried a lot for the characters and what they went through, and I just thought it was a beautiful story, like, overall, and I absolutely adored Leo. I think he takes more of a centre stage in this one after everything that went down in the first one, and you can kind of feel his anger and like hurt, like radiating through the pages. It did take me a while to get into the second one after reading the first one, just because it's kind of rehashing things that you've already dealt with or spoke about in the first one, that I felt like we were going through the motions again and again and again. But once I'd got about halfway through, I was like, no, I am really enjoying this and I can see where we're going. And for the last third of the book, I think I was just in constant tears. But I would thoroughly recommend it. I think Beartown actually has a TV series, maybe like one season about it, maybe two. So I am really intrigued to watch that once I finish the third book. But yeah, I'm only about 100 pages into the third book at the minute, but there seems to be a bit of a time jump from the second book. But I'm really excited to see where it goes, where we end up, what happens to the characters. But yeah, that was my first two books of this month. So the next book I read was The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. I have to say I was drawn in by the cover, but I went to a book signing with Olivia Blake and she was talking about this book, and I just thought it sounded so interesting. It's a psychological horror that follows a Korean American student, like college student, whose dad leaves their family, and it's her mum ends up getting this new boyfriend, and our main character becomes like a little bit obsessed with his eyes. There's a little bit talking about like eating fish eyes because it's meant to be good luck, and there were times I was like literally like squirming with how uncomfortable and how grotesque I'm just like, oh gosh. But no, I did really enjoy it, and I don't want to give too much away because I feel like with psychological horrors, you just have to go in and expect it, like go through it for yourself. But he becomes like a little bit obsessed with like her younger sister, and the rage that you can feel from G1 is insane. Like, she's just so sick of just everybody in her life. But apart from her younger sister, like, she has so much time for her and so much care and love, and it's nice to see that shine throughout. There were like elements as well with it being psychological that I was just like, I don't know what is real and what is not, and I think that it just summed up perfectly like kind of being in G1's mind and how she was probably feeling. So my next book was my least favourite of the month. The premise sounded really interesting. It's about this sex worker who lives with her ex-boyfriend, but then her ex-boyfriend goes missing, and then as he goes missing, she ends up diving deeper into like different kinds of work and just trying to find out who she is as a person, because I don't think she fully understands, and I feel like she got into this line of work just as something to do, and I really enjoyed it, but I thought it was going to be more of a mystery and trying to figure out what happened to the boyfriend, but it just kind of leaves you ambiguous, which I don't mind an ambiguous ending, but it definitely centres more around obviously who our main character is. So like our main character Ruthie goes by the stage name of like Baby Blue, and she ends up speaking to this customer called No One, and it just kind of devolves, and I was kind of like, are we really speaking to someone, or is it all her inner thoughts? And it was really interesting to see the relationships between the other girls at the club, and just seeing how Ruby's life becomes entangled in also like her stripping life is really interesting. But I just didn't love the writing style, and I don't know, I just didn't vibe with what it was. Just really different to what I thought it was going to be. But I know it is Brittany Newell's debut novel, but yeah, I just wanted more, I think, than what it actually was. Like, it might be my fault and I went in expecting something different, but I only gave it 2.5 stars, so take that with what you will. So the last book I read on my Kindle this month is Diabound by Sable Sorensen. I put this on my TBR because I was doing Winterween and it fit for one of the proms, and I was like, I do want to read it, but I just didn't know when I would get round to it. I always get a bit nervous when I read fantasy on my Kindle because I feel like I can't immerse myself in the world. It's really weird. But I just thought, give it a go, it's fine. What's worse that can happen? And it actually ended up being another 5-star read. has a boyfriend called Lee at the start, and he calls her Kitten, and I cannot tell you how much that gave me the ick. I was like, I hope Lee is not endgame, but he is. When she ends up having to go and join the army, he is really sweet and buys her loads of gear to help her get through the army trials and stuff, and I was like, maybe I could get over being called Kitten if he was gonna basically stop me from dying in these trials. But no, I just absolutely loved it. Obviously Stark, who is the alpha of one of the groups, Icon, Dreamboat, say what you will, I can't wait to read more. When he licks her neck after giving her a tattoo, I know it's part of their ritual or whatever, but I'm sorry, I would be enthralled as well. So yeah, I am seated, ready for the next book. I'm really upset it's not immediately right now, but yeah, I suppose I can wait till May. Once again, just adding more books to my TBR that I couldn't necessarily do without. And then last but not least, I read Mina and the Cult by Amy McCall. This is the third and final book in the Mina and the Undead series, I think. I absolutely love this series. I don't know if it's the pop culture references or the fact that it starts off in Whitby in the UK, and then she travels to New Orleans to find because her sister moves over there to find their mom, as she just kind of abandons them one day, and then Mina goes and joins her sister in New Orleans, and her sister works in this like haunted house in New Orleans, and there's a lot of pop culture references which I can get behind, and it involves like vampires and witches, and the whole aspect of Louisiana really intrigues me. I really want to go and visit one day, but I absolutely love this series. Like, it is really good, like a nice YA, like I said, a lot of pop culture references in it. I can't talk too much about this one, we've been the last one, but it basically devolves on from the other books in the series where we're set in New Orleans, and there's like a head of this vampire called Saint Germain, and he's just like the bad guy of the series, and Mina is working with her sister at this haunted house attraction, and yeah, it's just a really fun time, nothing too serious, but I really like it. And like I said, if you like vampires, I think there are witches in this as well, and then like pop culture references of like The Lost Boys is a big one sometimes. But yeah, I just really enjoy it. I think, yeah, it's just a fun series to keep going, and now I've finished this series, I'm like, another series down, thank God. But yeah, I only gave this 3 stars, but I think, yeah, I had a fun time. I would read more.